Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Low Budget and Local. I would like to kick off this show with a couple of shout outs to Todd, watching on Bainbridge Island, to Ian, watching in Paulsbo, and to Kim, watching in Lowfall. Thank you. And to you, please send a like or give me a comment either on Facebook or YouTube, and I can give you a shout out here. In fact, comments are better. That way I can get to know you. Do you like the show? Do you want to see something improve? In any case, the world is your oyster here, literally. So, last week I talked about places you should visit in the Northwest, and I am continuing. Today I am highlighting the Triangle of Fire. The Triangle of Fire was a network of 3 different bases: Fort Worden, Fort Casey, and Fort Flagler. Now, before I go any further, I have to say a special thanks to Ron at the Fort Worden Museum for giving me more information and pictures than I could possibly use for one episode. Thank you, Ron. But at this point, I'm going to have to come back and do 3 shows off everything shared there. If you would like more information, check out the museum at Fort Worden. In the meantime, here's the rest of the show. So, Fort Worden, Fort Casey, and Fort Flagler were strategically positioned around Admiralty Inlet to defend the Pudget Sound from anyone who didn't need to be there. At first, it was a little vague who that could be. The Spanish-American War was going on. The British were apparently not acting not so nice, though by World War II, people were afraid of the Japanese. The Japanese had already invaded the Aleutians, and people were amping things up around here. So, the bases in their time were an engineering masterpiece, completely invisible from the water. All of the bases featured a variety of weapons, from mortar batteries, disappearing guns, and even subnets in the water, so that no one was truly safe passing through Admiralty Inlet. The disappearing guns were massive and required crews of 50 men to raise, load, aim, and fire. At first, Fort Flagler was a command center. Then later, after technical issues and probably visibility issues, Fort Worden assumed command of the Triangle. From there, the bases all took orders simultaneously so the guns could be positioned and fired. However, by the 1980s, a thing called the airplane had proved superior, and the bases were made obsolete. For a bit, they were used as a training installation. Then, by the 80s, they were opened up to the general public as parks. That being said, even still, many of the bunkers and installations are still in place. The blimp hangar at Fort Worden, which housed observation blimps, is now a stage where various musicians coming through town can be seen. The staging area closer to the beach is now a campground, just in walking distance of the Kenzie Battery. And Battery Hill above Fort Worden is a maze of hiking trails, access roads, and bunkers, so that day hikers can explore to their heart's content and hopefully not get lost. It's a big loop, so even if you do get lost, there's a pretty good chance you'll get out. And all 3 are open to the public. In fact, Fort Casey still has 2 disappearing guns in place. Though they're not operational, they're still there, so you can get a full idea of just how big they were. And in Fort Worden and around the other bases, there's a wealth of information in the form of museums and plaques along the trail, which will completely inform you as to what each of the installations were. So, now that I've given you something to see, go hiking, get outside, get some fresh air. And thank you for tuning in to Low Budget and Local. Come back next week for more, and as always, hit like and subscribe.